Imagine waking up in the middle of the night. The room is dark. The house is silent. You are safe in your bed. But then, you feel a pressure on your throat. Fingers. Strong, relentless fingers tightening around your windpipe. You gasp for air. You thrash. You reach up with your right hand to claw at the attacker, to pry their fingers loose. And that is when the true horror sets in. The hand choking you is your own. This sounds like the plot of a B-grade horror movie. It sounds like a ghost story told to frighten children. But for a select few, this is not fiction. It is a daily, waking nightmare. Your hand buttons a shirt you are trying to unbutton. It slaps you across the face when you try to speak. It throws your food on the floor. It acts with intelligence, with purpose, and with malice, but without your permission. This is the alien hand syndrome. It is perhaps the most disturbing glitch in the human operating system. It forces us to ask the question we are too afraid to voice: do you control your body? Or are you just a passenger, unaware that there is another driver behind the wheel? Tonight, we go deep. We will dissect the brain, revisit the surgical experiments of the 1960s, and look into the lives of those who share their bodies with a silent, rebellious stranger. To understand why your hand might try to kill you, we have to look at the architecture of the soul. The human brain is divided into two hemispheres, the left and the right. The left hemisphere is usually the dominant one for language, logic, and speech. It is the you that is listening to this video. It is the narrator. The right hemisphere is mute. It controls spatial awareness, facial recognition, and emotion, but it cannot speak. Connecting these two massive superpowers is a bridge, the corpus callosum. It is a thick bundle of 200 million nerve fibers. It is the information superhighway that allows the left hand to know what the right hand is doing. It unifies your consciousness. But what happens if you burn the bridge? In the 1950s and 60s, doctors were desperate to treat severe, intractable epilepsy. For some patients, electrical storms would start in one side of the brain, travel across the corpus callosum, and engulf the entire mind, causing violent, life-threatening seizures. Surgeons proposed a radical solution: cut the bridge. The procedure is called a corpus callosotomy. By slicing through those 200 million fibers, they could trap the seizure in one hemisphere, preventing it from spreading. The surgery was a success. The seizures stopped. The patients seemed normal. Their personalities were intact. But then, the families started noticing things. And the scientists, specifically a man named Roger Sperry, began to look closer. Before we had MRI scans, Roger Sperry, along with Michael Gazzaniga, conducted the famous split brain experiments that would eventually win a Nobel Prize. What they found was shattering. When the bridge is cut, the two hemispheres do not die. They continue to function. But they function independently. Sperry discovered that if you showed a picture of a spoon to the left eye, which connects to the right brain, the patient could not say what they saw. The left brain, the talking brain, didn't see it. The bridge was cut. The information never arrived. The patient would say, "I see nothing." But at the same exact moment, their left hand would reach under a table and pick up a spoon. When asked, "Why are you holding a spoon?" the patient would be confused. The left brain would quickly invent a lie. "Oh, I just wanted to check the silverware." This revealed a terrifying truth. The mute right hemisphere is conscious. It has its own eyes. It has its own desires. It has its own agenda. And it controls the left hand. Usually, the dominant left hemisphere bullies the right into submission. It shouts orders across the bridge. But without the bridge, the right hemisphere is free. It is off the leash. And sometimes, it doesn't like what the left hemisphere is doing. Let us move from the lab to the living room. Let us talk about Karen Byrne. In her late 20s, Karen underwent a corpus callosotomy to treat her epilepsy. The surgery worked. But she woke up with a stranger attached to her left wrist. Her left hand, controlled by her liberated right hemisphere, became hostile. Karen would light a cigarette with her right hand. Her left hand would immediately snatch it out of her mouth and crush it. She would try to answer the telephone with her right hand. Her left hand would slam the receiver down. She would be buttoning her blouse to go to work, and her left hand would follow behind, undoing every button, stripping her naked. To truly understand the rebellion, Karen described the hand as having a mind of its own. It wasn't just random twitching. It was purposeful. The right hemisphere knew that smoking was bad, or perhaps it just didn't want to smoke, so it stopped her. It didn't want to talk on the phone, so it hung up. It was a civil war inside one body. In one particularly terrifying incident, Karen got into an argument. Her left hand suddenly flew up and slapped her across the face. She was physically fighting herself. Imagine the psychological toll. You are trapped in a cage with a roommate who hates you. But the cage is your own skeleton. Doctors call this intermanual conflict. It is the defining characteristic of alien hand syndrome. It is not just that the hand moves, it is that the hand opposes you. There are cases of patients in grocery stores. The right hand, the conscious self, reaches for a healthy salad. The left hand, the alien, grabs a chocolate cake. The patient stands there, arms locked in a tug-of-war, weeping in the middle of the aisle, unable to negotiate with their own limb. But why does the hand become aggressive? Why doesn't it just sit there? To understand this, we have to look at the supplementary motor area, SMA, and the frontal lobe. These are the parts of the brain responsible for planning and inhibition. In a healthy brain, your frontal lobe is like a strict parent. It is constantly telling your motor cortex, don't touch that. Don't grab that. Keep your hands to yourself. This is called inhibition. When you see a cup on a table, a part of your brain automatically wants to grab it. It's a reflex known as affordance. Your brain sees a handle and thinks, grab. Usually, your inhibition system says, no, we don't need the cup right now, and you stand still. In alien hand syndrome, particularly the frontal variant, this inhibition is destroyed. The stop signal never gets sent. So, the alien hand becomes a slave to the environment. It sees a door handle, it turns it. It sees a tool, it uses it. It sees a throat, it squeezes. This is called magnetic apraxia. The hand is magnetically drawn to manipulate the world around it, regardless of social context or safety. It is a biological machine running on autopilot, stripping away the layer of civilization that keeps us from touching everything we see. In one case, a patient's hand would relentlessly grab the steering wheel of the car while he was driving, trying to jerk the vehicle into oncoming traffic. He wasn't suicidal. His hand simply saw a wheel and decided to turn it. The existence of alien hand syndrome does more than frighten us. It insults us. It insults our ego. We believe that we are the authors of our actions. I think, therefore I act. But the alien hand proves that thinking and acting are two different departments that usually just happen to agree. When the alien hand acts, the patient is fully conscious. They are watching the hand. They feel the sensory input from the fingers. But they lack the sense of agency. This has led neuroscientists and philosophers to a disturbing hypothesis. Perhaps our free will is an illusion. Perhaps our conscious mind is just a narrator, a press secretary who explains actions that have already happened. In the case of the alien hand, the press secretary has been fired. The machinery is exposed. We see the robot underneath the skin. If your brain can harbor two separate consciousnesses, one that wants to smoke, and one that crushes the cigarette, who are you? Are you the smoker? Or are you the crusher? If you commit a crime with your alien hand, are you guilty? In legal history, this defense has been attempted. It sounds absurd, but neurologically, it is valid. If the mechanism of control is broken, the you that society judges was not present in the action. There is no cure for alien hand syndrome. If the brain tissue is dead, or the connection is severed, it does not grow back. So, how do patients survive? They learn to trick the alien. Some patients wear thick oven mitts, so the hand cannot grab anything. Others tie the hand behind their back. But the most fascinating treatment involves distraction tasks. Since the alien hand is obsessed with touching things, patients often give it a pacifier. They give the hand a cane, or a stress ball. As long as the hand is holding something, it feels purposeful. It stays quiet. One patient found that if he gave his alien hand a verbal command in a loud, authoritative voice, it would sometimes obey. He had to shout at his own limb like a drill sergeant. Let go. It is a life of constant vigilance. A life where you must babysit your own body. We walk through life assuming we are the captains of our ships. We assume that when we steer left, the ship goes left. But alien hand syndrome reveals that there is a mutiny waiting in the dark. It reveals that control is a luxury, not a guarantee. It shows us that our consciousness is not a monolith, but a fragile coalition of parts, held together by a few millimeters of white matter. The next time you reach out to hold the hand of a loved one, or pick up a cup of coffee, or button your shirt, take a moment to marvel at the miracle of that action. Be thankful that your hand obeyed. Be thankful that the stranger in your brain is sleeping. Because for some, the stranger is awake.